Have you ever been working on something creative and just haven't been able to come up with an idea? You sit at your desk and you're just frustrated with yourself, and then you start thinking about, like, why did I ever decide to pursue this? But you still can't come up with any ideas. And you try to go out and you try to do things to try to stimulate creativity, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. What if I told you that you could come up with creativity, or at least ideas, really easily? At least it's coming really easily to me. And I think it can work with more people because I've seen it work with my roommate. And so today, guys, I wanted to share with you guys my top 2 tips for always having ideas or coming up with something creative in order to use it in music or in anything else. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So let's get into it. Alrighty, guys, before we start, I'm gonna set the groundwork of what needs to follow this, and I want to just preface the whole thing with saying that this isn't gonna happen instantaneously. This is something that you have to build up to, and this is something that you have to create for yourself, and then you'll get to a point where it's not even a question if you can sit down and create something. It's of what quality and what's gonna come out. So I just want to preface that saying that this isn't instantaneous. This is gonna take some work, and this is gonna take some discipline, but I believe that if you can do this, you will be able to create ideas with an almost infinite amount as long as you stick to it. Number 1 is come up with a routine for whatever you're doing. In my case, I'm going to use music. So basically what I've done is I've scheduled out myself different parts of the morning. So like I wake up, I work out, and then after that I answer emails, and then it's music for a maximum of 2 hours. Breaking that down even more, when I first start making music, or if I'm starting music, like I'm starting a new idea or I'm starting a new project, which I'm now on about 1 song a week, mixed and mastered to the best of my ability, of course. When I first started off, I came up with this routine of these devices or something that I use. So let's say throughout the week when I was making a song, I found this really cool sample that I really enjoyed, and just it felt like it connected with me somehow. So what I'll do is I'll grab that sample, I'll put it into my DAW, and then I'll try a whole bunch of different things, slowing it down, messing with the BPM, pitching it, throwing it into different plugins and stuff like that. And I have like a list of plugins that I go through, and there's like 5 plugins where I put it through, and if I can't come up with an idea when I put it through all of those, then I throw it aside. And so basically I find either a sample, or if there's a sample, I have this is what I do to generate an idea, whether that's throwing it through iZotope Vinyl, or slowing it down, pitching it, reversing it, chopping it up. I list out things that I do, and I have it in my little not an ideas book, but it's a book like this, where it's just like, okay, so if my creativity fails when I first start, I open this up, and then I go through my list of almost like last resort to try to save the sample or to try to save the session. And then the same thing works with MIDI. So if I'm planning on using some MIDI that I found, or if I want to record my own MIDI, I start with always the exact same piano that I designed for myself in Arturia Pianos. And then I made a preset for myself that I really, really enjoyed hearing, and that always created some type of spark in me. I play that, and then I bounce that into audio, and then I start the process that I did with the audio. I grab that audio and I put it into a whole bunch of different plugins, or try different plugins, and see what kind of creativity is sparked for me. And to preface all of this, you have that surface level where you do certain things with the sample to try to create some inspiration in yourself. And then after that, as soon as I have like a concrete idea, I arrange it out, both drops. I have different sections, 16 bar this, 32, 16, 32, 16. And so I have the framework, and then I just work to fill it in. And that's how I finish tracks on a weekly basis. Just you get the idea, boom, you arrange it out, you got your 2 drops, which is how I start, 2 drops, and then intro, outro, and then the part in between. So then it's just filling in spaces instead of just, like slamming your head against the wall, being like, oh, I've got the intro part, but now I need to have this part here. But if you have both and then you just fill in spaces, I think it works so much better than just trying to push through and try to figure out some way to do something. Anyway, guys, that was tip number 1. Moving on swiftly to tip number 2, referencing. And I know you guys here, well, if you've watched a lot of videos about music and how to create music or how to come up with ideas, a lot of people say reference your music. But I want to get a little bit more macro. I want to break that down a little bit more into kind of actionable steps, at least actionable steps that I use. So I listen to a whole bunch of different music, and probably like you have a Spotify premium account or a free account if it's tough times. We all go through it. And I have my own playlist that I make. Quick plug. There's a link for that in the description below, by the way. So I'll grab a whole bunch of, so if I'm listening to music, I use my Discover Weekly, and I grab music that I'm like, okay, I really enjoy this breakdown part, or I really enjoy this drop part. And I have a session a week, usually separate from my music making sessions. I call them B sessions. And I'll just break down the aspects of the track that I really like. For example, Blossom by Porter Robinson. I love the acoustic guitar in there and how it just feels like so friendly and welcoming and stuff like that. So I'll write that down. I'm like, okay, well, why did I like this guitar? Or why did I like this certain part of the track? You don't have to like the whole thing, but if you can break it down into actionable, small little pieces like the guitar, okay, I really connect with the guitar. For me, I also have 2 guitars that I can play with and I can mess with. Perfect. Okay, so next session when I start, I'm gonna start, before I do anything else, I'm gonna start with the guitar and see if I can come up with something. But like doing that with a whole bunch of different songs will lead you to certain elements that you'll notice. There'll be a repeating pattern with elements that you notice, where it's like a supersaw, or you like this really cool distorted 808, or you like these Reese basses. Oops. And then you can come up with different things that you like, and then eventually, when you develop your own signature for each one of these things, that could be what people call like quote unquote your sound, a repertoire of songs or tracks or presets that you really enjoy, and that will eventually become what your sound is. So guys, yeah, that was tip number 2, and it's just referencing tracks, finding elements from each one that you really enjoy and writing those down, and so that if you're feeling low on motivation, or if you just can't come up with something, or you're just reaching this roadblock, you can go into your notebook and you can be like, boom, this welcoming guitar. So you'll listen to the track, boom, and then you'll get some type of spark from it. Yeah guys, so this is a new series. I'm going to be doing these every so often, mixed in with a bunch of different things. I'm going to be putting the story time section of this on hold for a while I'm going to be doing these videos and maybe some more album reviews and a couple other things. And I don't know if you guys noticed that in the background. I'll be talking about that in a future video. Guys, if you enjoyed this, consider liking and subscribing, or give me a comment section. Give me a comment section. Give me a comment down below of what you guys, what you use to stay creative or to come up with ideas when you're just kind of like, you're hitting that brick wall. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.